10 abnormally large animals that really exist. There are countless varieties of animal species on our planet, but still the majority of us are incredibly surprised when we encounter an animal that we've never seen or heard about before. Each year, scientists keep on discovering new and even more obscure species of animals, and they conclude that modern science hasn't registered all the existing animals. Throughout the rather brief and somewhat dark history of humans on planet Earth, we have always had a common and very enthusiastic interest in size. Although, it's not that we're so obsessed as much as we're fascinated with large animals. Therefore, here's a list of 10 abnormally large animals that really exist. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon. 10. The African Giant Snail. The African Giant Snail, with emphasis on the word giant, can be expected to be huge, but this huge? Who would have thought? This is an extremely big, very sturdy, and incredibly slimy snail. Coming in at around 8 inches long, it's essentially the size of a fully grown human hand. Don't take the name very literally, as the snail is found in a range of places and is considered a big pest concern around crops. Because of its size, it has an insatiable appetite, and if that doesn't sound bad enough, it also has a meteoric rate of reproduction. Both of these factors make it rank amongst the world's top 10 invasive species. Whilst it's commonly seen as a pest, it can also go into dormancy itself, which means that during a severe drought, it can use a calciferous compound to seal itself up in its shell and hibernate. That's one tough snail!
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
9. Hercules, the world's biggest liger. When you think of cats, what comes to mind a majority of the time are the adorable, fluffy, and domestic furballs, as well as the other wild cats such as tigers and lions. The largest of them all was previously the Siberian tiger. However, there is presently another wildcat that surpasses this fierce and majestic predator, and it happens to be the liger. Yes, that's right, you heard me, a liger. It's the product of a union between a female tiger and a male lion, as opposed to the product of a male tiger and a lioness called a tigon. Hercules is also an extremely sociable animal. I mean, about as sociable as a wildcat can get. He is also currently the world's largest surviving cat, measuring over 11 feet and weighing an impressive 922 pounds. 8. The Goliath Birdeater. This will certainly raise the hairs on most of you. It's interesting because when we generally think of spiders, what usually comes to mind are tiny, diminutive, 8-legged creatures with beady eyes that develop spectacular webs. And usually, spiders eat flies and then are fed on by lizards and birds. It's high time you were introduced to this monstrosity of nature residing in the Amazonian jungle. This specific spider, called the Goliath Birdeater, is actually a tarantula. And while most people don't run miles at seeing an arachnid, it can be guaranteed that they will run several miles in the presence of a tarantula. It's found residing in the South American rainforests and can weigh up to an incredible 6 ounces or 175 grams, which without context doesn't seem like a lot, but for a spider it's quite bulky. Despite its predetermined label as a bird eater, it doesn't actually prey on birds, but rather feeds on creatures such as snakes, rodents, and toads, which are all part of its regular diet. 7. Darius, the world's largest rabbit. You would probably be forgiven if you saw this creature from afar and mistook it for a dog, albeit a very fat one and with a little odd coloring. And if you tread a little closer, you'll be able to see his ears and will become really flabbergasted. Upon closer inspection, this enormous beast, who weighs an astonishing 50 pounds and is 4 feet 4 inches tall, is none other than a bunny. However, don't get too shocked. Wait until you meet his son Jeff, who although is not fully grown, is already 3 feet 8 inches tall. The father and son duo are members of a huge rabbit species called the continental rabbits, whose individuals commonly reach a height of approximately 4 feet. These two adorable giants go through 700 apples and 2,000 carrots per year, not including the bowl of rabbit food they gobble daily, which all costs Annette Edwards, their 63-year-old loving owner, around 5,000 pounds a year. Chinese giant salamander. If the word salamander brings to mind a small lizard-like creature who lives nearby bodies of water and is quite icky and slimy to deal with, then you wouldn't be entirely wrong. They are in fact amphibians and not reptiles and appear to be a mix between a lizard and a frog. Salamanders are commonly about 6 inches long, with most being smaller than that, and the smallest of them are less than an inch. However, with over 600 species, there has to be at least one that is an exception. Let me introduce to you the Chinese giant salamander, which grows up to a gigantic 6 feet. Yeah, there are lizards in the world that exist that could be taller than your best friend or your next door neighbor. 5. Ludo, the world's largest cat. The Maine Coons are a relatively huge breed of domestic cat. Their characteristic features are their furry tails, and they usually end up measuring 40 inches once measured from nose to tail. At 7 months old, Ludo already measured an incredible 45 inches and came in at 24.5 pounds. The Maine Coons are known for being placid, and Ludo is no different, except for being a little bigger than your average cat. However, despite his large size, he actually eats less than other smaller cats. And though these pleasant giants are very friendly, their size often deter many from coming close, because you must be very bold to want to pet a giant-sized cat. Let's face it, as cute and fluffy as he looks, being and knowing a cat, he could turn on you at any time. 4. The Goliath Frog. This oddity, known as the giant frog, or Goliath as it's called, is not actually that terrifying, but having this freak croak at you when you least expect it might just give you a bit of a heart attack. The largest frog that most people have ever come across was about the size of a fist, but this absolute monstrosity of a frog is over a foot long, and when it extends its legs, it's even longer. While their tadpoles are the exact same size as the other normal species of frogs, the only difference is that they keep on increasing in size. They are found in Cameroon and in other certain areas of Africa. Plus, they're not the ideal parental role models because once the eggs have been laid, the parents just up and leave. Talk about being mean! 3. Japanese spider crab. Crabs are usually thought about in the same breath as a luxurious beachside dinner served with a bottle of fine French wine, though this culinary fantasy will disappear when you come face to face with a Japanese spider crab. This is an abnormally large species, coming in at an enormous 42 pounds and measuring a shocking 18 feet. This freak of nature is particularly scary when seen on a dark, cold, and lonely beach. But much like most of the world's largest animals, this huge and menacing-looking spider crab has been alleged to have a very gentle personality. Astoundingly, the Japanese spider crab is being hunted for food and is considered a delicacy in many Japanese regions. Its population has taken a major dip, and conservation efforts are being put in place to protect the world's largest arthropod. And with that, it is now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. Looking at this picture, one can immediately tell that the 3 horses pictured above seem to be abnormally larger than any other normal horse we might see on a daily basis. Upon further inspection, these are actually a type of draft horse known as a Clydesdale horse. They're mainly used for agricultural practices such as logging and driving, though they're also kept for pleasure and riding.
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
1. Lolong, the world's largest crocodile. I mean, we're already aware of the fact that crocodiles are gigantic monsters, but Lolong is in a class all on its own. This enormously built crocodile was captured in September 2011 in the Bunuan Creek situated in the Philippine province of Agusan del Sur. This terrifying task was a joint effort, carried out by a team of local residents, units from the local government, and crocodile hunters from the Palawan Wildlife Reservation Center. It took a period of 3 weeks before the crocodile was eventually hunted down and caught. It took almost 100 people just to drag him to land, and judging from his violent protestations, he certainly didn't want to be captured. He weighed a shocking 2,370 pounds, and his length was recorded to be 20 feet 3 inches long. It was also speculated that he was at least a 50-year-old. In addition to that, this monstrosity of a crocodile was rumored to be a man-eater. And that concludes our list of the 10 abnormally large animals that really exist. Let us know in the comments below which one of these shocked you the most, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon.